Hey everyone, what's happening? Welcome to Redmen TV. So, it is the morning after the night before. I am in Linz after Liverpool's 3-1 win over Lask in the Europa League, and I have with me the local newspapers just to give us some, more balanced coverage on what's been happening and how they reacted to the game last night. There's some brilliant stuff in here, some great photographs. I'll show a few of them as I go along, but if you've got any thoughts on the game, anything you particularly want to discuss, let me know in the comments underneath. I've got a lot of travelling to do today, so I will be I'll be interacting with the comments as I go along. First one we've got from Nachrichten. It's got this great photo here of the players all celebrating, and basically it says Da lag die Sensation in der Luft, and says basically the sensation in the sky. There's a lot of that going on because it all centres around Flecker's goal. So this one is Kronen Zeitung, and this one says mega sensation lag in Linzer Luft, which basically means the mega sensation in the Linz sky. Yeah, really good stuff. We've got another one here, and this might be my favourite because this is like a different take on it. This from Volksblatt. It's got another great picture of Flecker doing his flip, and it says Linz stand lange Kopf am Ende siegte aber Liverpool, which basically means Linz was upside down for a bit, but in the end Liverpool won, which I think might be the best headline I've ever read about a news story ever. Could not be more accurate. One thing that I think has been really good, and it's in the coverage in the newspapers actually, is just how positive everyone's been around the whole trip, to be perfectly honest. So when I arrived in Linz train station, there was a really big police presence initially, and you could see them dotted around, but mainly kind of sat off in cars, in groups, hanging off to the side, not really interfering. I spoke to one of the Liverpool stewards, because Liverpool bring their own stewarding team over for European aways. In fact, I think they do that for just general aways as well, but certainly for European aways. There's a guy I've known for many, many years who I always talk to with these, and he was saying how inside the ground it's self-policing, and we've seen that a few times, and sometimes for better and sometimes for worse. Like I've had some bad experiences. Villarreal was horrible just because the setup for away fans was terrible. You were behind glass, the floors were treacherous, whereas this, obviously it's the safe standing, so you had the barriers, so it was just good. You could have beer in the stands, which is a very rare thing. The Merseyside police put a tweet out last night actually saying that they'd heard so many positive stories around it. So yeah, it's great to see that actually reflected in the news coverage today as well, which is it just kind of makes me feel really encouraged. I'll see if I can get that one up. So yeah, there's basically just loads of really nice pictures of Liverpool fans. Look at these, just chilling, having good times, lots of smiles. Whereas you go to, again, I think back to going to Madrid, and the news coverage is filled with like video footage of the worst of the worst. So it's like, people like falling on floors and all that kind of stuff, and it always carries that edge of like, oh God, Liverpool are coming to town, watch out, Liverpool are coming to town. Whereas, again, an immense amount of pride on my part that, we get to travel all over the world and behave ourselves. And of course, there's knobheads in every fan base, but I didn't see them in ours. And again, it was just an ultimately brilliant, welcoming environment. One thing, just having had time to reflect on the game, I spoke a little bit yesterday about some of the performances. Really interesting game for me, and I've seen a lot of people talking about Liverpool's slow start, and I think the biggest issue that the Reds had yesterday, it being fair, was the best 11, as it were, and that basically includes, I think, McAllister and Szoboszlai, just for talking's sake. It'll have Trent in, and it'll have Robertson in, which obviously none of them started the game last night, and obviously Salah as well. Those players, that 11, are still trying to figure out each other, particularly the midfield. Brand new midfield, still trying to work their way out into this team, trying to figure out what Klopp wants. And I think often we compare this side to the best of the best, and I thought Klopp in his press conference was interesting when he talked about this the other day, about how this isn't like year 8, this is year 1, which I think is a really important way to look at it. It's certainly the way I feel about it. There feels a lot less pressure on Liverpool this season. I think the Europa League weirdly does that. I just had so much fun, and it was a bit moody a little bit being 1-0 down, just because No one likes to see Liverpool not win or not be in front in games. But I just thought it'll come good. The way they were playing made me feel like it was going to come good, and I'm getting that sense in the league as well. Of it feels like a building process. It feels like City's to lose, but there's kind of loads less pressure on it. But the point is that we remember Liverpool, the fast starting team. There's plenty of occasions where Liverpool didn't start fast. I think about probably our best sort of spell is 18-19 to 2018 to 2021, 2022-ish. Often we'd go in at Anfield at half-time, kind of 0-0, or it was close, and we've been okay, but we haven't really found the breakthrough or whatever. And then second half, we turn on the afterburners, and it's funny because it always stands out to me as a memory of how Liverpool play, because I sit in the Kop, and more often than not, you know, Liverpool attack the Kop in the second half, and that's normally when we get really, really good. It's very rare that I can think of where the vast majority of goals have been scored down the Anfield Road end. So as much as Liverpool are kind of famed as this gegenpressing, high energy, attack you from minute one, destroy you kind of team, and they certainly have that, and there's games where they do that. They're the standout ones. They're probably the ones that you really, really remember. We think of like Roma and Man City, Barcelona, obviously, and there's other examples. Manchester, even Man United, we beat them 7-0, and we didn't really get going until the end of the first half in that. So the kind of point of driving at is that the 11 that started isn't even that best 11 in inverted commas. It's actually full of lads who just need some match sharpness. So Stefan Bajcetic got better as the game wore on. I really want to see a little bit more of him. Right now I'd be putting him above Endo in the pecking order, but then, you know, again, I don't want to make any cast iron judgments on footballers too soon, but he's another one Endo needs to get up to speed. It took Fabinho half a season, and he was, 24 probably at the time. It's going to be a big battle for Endo to get up to speed for Liverpool, but if he can only be a player who comes in and is fine, then that's sometimes just the beauty of a squad, isn't it? Kostas Tsimikas, I've seen probably get the most stick in the comments, which I think it probably was the weakest performer out of everyone on the night. It might have been a toss-up between him and Endo, to be fair. But again, I mentioned this in my post-match reaction, the last few minutes, he put in some really good tackles. He some really good interceptions, some nice clean passes on the march. So yeah, but this is the point. It's his first game for Liverpool this season in a hostile environment, away from home. Yeah, it's going to take a while, I think, for this Liverpool team to gel. But the beauty is, it's not gelled yet. We've basically played every single one of our players. We gave a debut to Gravenberch, who was really, really good, by the way. And we're still unbeaten so far this season. We're unbeaten in the league. Only points we've dropped so far is Chelsea, which actually feels a weird loss now, given how rubbish they've been. But look, a point to Stamford Bridge is what it is. Yeah, I think it's been a really, really encouraging start, and look, to get the Europa League campaign up and running, 3 points on the board with 2 more really interesting away trips to come. That's a really, really, really good start. And the point is there, again, if you can go away from home and play Ben Doak, Bajcetic, Harvey Elliott, Kostas Tsimikas in a team and still come away with the win, then that's boss. And what it also showed me last night, I think was the most encouraging thing, was how much firepower Liverpool have got in depth. What we've got on the bench, Liverpool have lacked game changers on the bench a lot of times due to injuries, but that's because we held a lot of injured players or injury prone players. We were able to bring on McAllister and Szoboszlai and Salah into that game of football yesterday, and Lask have held on, have done a really good job. But then you bring on the big guns then, and it was never really in doubt. And in truth, it probably should have been a bigger scoreline. But yeah, that's kind of that. What did you make of? Who was your man of the match last night? Seen a lot of positive chat on Ryan Gravenberch. Fingers crossed his injury's not too severe. That would be a real dampener on proceedings. But he got a great ovation coming off the pitch, being clapped off by the Liverpool fans and what have you. So yeah, hopefully that's a positive step in the right direction. He was a really, really progressive, really, really front foot footballer. I didn't have any expectations of him really, other than I knew he'd be good. But it's going to take time for him to settle. But yeah, that was a very, very, very positive full debut for him anyway. Yes, let me know your man of the match in the comments. Right, I am in Linz. I'm travelling back. There's 2 vlogs. There is the match vlog, which is out now on MHTV, which is my YouTube channel, and on my travels back, I'm going to edit my Euro trip vlog. So how did I get to here, and some of the catastrophic mistakes I've made along the way. Yeah, that is going to be going out on MHTV later. But if you want more just Liverpool content, if you want the post-match shows, if you want the player ratings podcast and the instant match reaction podcast, if you want JNO Insight, if you want the Bobby Firmino documentary, you can get that and more on redmenplus.com. Use the code LASK, L-A-S-K, to get 25% off a Captain yearly subscription. Go to redmenplus.com, sign up as a Captain yearly, and use the code LASK, L-A-S-K, for 25% off. I'm hoping that people will take me up on that offer. It is a code I've made specifically for all the content that I've been making while I've been over here, and hopefully it means we can continue to do Euro ways this season, but we shall see. Ultimately, as long as you're watching the content and enjoying it, that's the most important thing. And yes, Liverpool Europa League campaign off with a bang. Let me find it. Oh no, where's it gone? And don't forget that Linz was upside down for a bit, and in the end, Liverpool won the Reds.